My wife suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm back in 2021. She passed away a couple of months after her aneurysm ruptured, and it was just like a typical day at home. There was really no symptoms. She really didn't have any sort of lead up. There really wasn't even that headache or any of that. She was off that day, and I was supposed to work later in the day. And, I heard her collapse. I called 911 and they rushed her to the hospital and, found out what it was. They did some, CT scan, found out it was a ruptured brain aneurysm. She was in ICU for about 3 weeks and then another week in the hospital. And she spent about 3 weeks in a rehab facility and then, just passed away suddenly. Life was normal at 9 o'clock in the morning, and by 9:15 the entire world around us had disintegrated. I went into kind of research mode, and throughout the entire process it was a big learning for me. As time progressed and the more I read and learned and kind of experienced, I think really understand one, how common they are. And obviously what happens afterward. I mean, certainly my kids will get tested just based on, me being able to advocate and press for that. But even to this point, previous kind of medical best practices would require 2 blood relatives to have had an aneurysm in order for you to be eligible for testing, which is crazy. I will be able to help guide them in their communication with their doctors and things like that, which will hopefully help. But there are so many other people that don't have that may be walking around with an aneurysm about to rupture. And that's the scary part, is that, they are much more common than everybody on the outside of this community probably realizes. And once you're affected, that's what sets it off for people, which is, by that point, too late.